10 legends with secret athletic bodies. What if the elegance was a disguise? Those tuxedos and satin gowns we grew up admiring often covered bodies forged by grind. Acrobats' shoulders, dancers' lungs, riders' balance, built long before the spotlight found them. Here's the part nobody bragged about. One gentleman learned balance on a traveling rig, not in charm school. Another star's calm came from a wrestling base, not posture lessons. That legendary staircase duel, weeks of footwork, not editing. The regal leading lady with the perfect posture. She trained reins and blade lines until they obeyed. And the king of light comedy? He could fall on cue, land silent, and keep talking. Stay close. I'll show you one tiny tell for each name. Easy to spot, impossible to forget. If presence is what we remember, preparation is why it lasts. Number 10, Charles Bronson, Miner's Density, in a movie star frame. You didn't need a gym poster to believe Charles Bronson. Before the billing, there was a Pennsylvania coal seam and days that made backs old before their time. That kind of work builds a different strength. Forearms that don't tire, a grip that doesn't ask permission, and a calm that stays even when tempers don't. The frame trusts his stillness because the power was already banked. Watch the fights in hard times. Short steps, elbows in, no wasted swing. In the Magnificent Seven, he doesn't crowd the frame. He owns it by not chasing it. That harmonica entrance in Once Upon a Time in the West isn't a pose. It's a man who knows he can do the job if the job finds him. Bronson's body reed like iron under a coat. Compact, dense, practical. No balloon biceps that collapse under breath. He carried himself like work was coming, and he didn't plan to talk about it. He hit marks because his balance lived in his hips. He sold hits because he braced from the floor up. The lens can't fake a lifetime of grip. If raw labor forged Bronson, sport science forged the next man. Watch a wrestler's base turn heat into control. Number 9. Kirk Douglas, wrestler's base, leading man's bite. The chin sold the posters. The stance sold the truth. Long before the marquees, Kirk Douglas learned to plant his feet on a wrestling mat. Hips square, weight settled through the arches, shoulders loose. He moves like a man who knows balance beats bravado. In Champion, the punches don't float. He steps with them, trunk tight, head slightly off the line like someone taught him not to eat a counter. Even in quiet scenes, when a chair scrapes back or a doorway becomes a border, his body slides into that subtle wrestler's crouch. Glutes loaded, heels ready to push. In doorframe showdowns, he drops his weight before the line. Never after. He's not acting strong. He's applying mechanics. What makes Douglas exceptional is no wasted motion, no decorative wind-up. He'll take a shove and never lose his line. The mat teaches you to own space without announcing it, and he keeps that lesson in every stare down. When trouble hits, he doesn't stamp, he sets. Ankles and hips lock, shoulders float on top, and the eyes stay free to choose. Number 8. Burt Lancaster, the acrobat who made gravity obey. You can dress an acrobat in a tux, but you can't hide the wiring. Burt Lancaster carried the circus in his shoulders. Before star billing, he and Nick Cravat were flying men doing bar work and hand-to-hand catches that punish the careless. That history explains everything. The buoyant posture, the cat-footed steps, the way he arrives on a mark like he meant to be there all day. Look at the action beats scattered across his career. Swings, vaults, quick pivots into a punch that doesn't waste height. He moves through a scene, not across it, letting momentum do half the lifting. When he drops, the knees and hips absorb cleanly. When he rises, the core leads. No shrugging, no flail, just tidy power that makes a stunt feel inevitable rather than risky. Watch a two-step vault, hand, hip, land, no shoulder hitch. What deepens the effect is how he pairs lift with calm. He'll take a high beat, bar, balcony, railing, and treat it like a familiar curb. Notice the stillness in his hands and the way he turns from the waist. That's body control baked in by years of drills that punish slop. When he jumps down to ground level, he doesn't thud. He settles. Ankles soft, spine tall, eyes up like the floor rose to meet him. If timing turns risk into rhythm, rhythm turns training into flight. Gene Kelly proves it. Number 7. Gene Kelly. Athlete in tap shoes, thunder in a smile, power disguised as grace. Gene Kelly trained like a middleweight who happened to love melody. Watch those single-leg landings in Singin' in the Rain. He drops onto one calf, absorbs cleanly, and immediately has room for expression because the joints never wobble. Single-leg landings finish with the heel quiet. That's control. That's plyometric practice before the term existed in living rooms. The hat tricks and street curbs aren't props. They're obstacles he turns into rhythm drills. When he skims a puddle or vaults a bench in An American in Paris, he's measuring distance the way a sprinter does. The smile is show business. The alignment is sport. His secret weapon is breath control. Long phrases, no huffing. Clean finishes where a line lands clear after a run of footwork. Shoulders down, ribs steady, neck long. He's giving the camera a portrait while the legs are doing road work. That's why close-ups never fight the choreography. After a burst, jumps, spins, quick travel, he lands in stillness that doesn't collapse. The endurance sits behind the smile like a well-tuned motor you only hear if you listen for it. If rhythm can be athletic, the duel can be rhythmic. Draw steel with Granger. Number 6. Stuart Granger, duelist, who turned footwork into drama. Some actors swing swords. Stuart Granger fenced. Heels light, hips square, blade hand steady, while the offhand floats for balance. He doesn't pose between parries. He resets, breath measured, like a man who learned that legs win every duel. The proof sits in Scaramouche. That staircase fight feels endless in the best way, because the base never crumbles. Granger climbs and retreats without crossing his feet, keeps the weight over the balls, and turns the railings into allies. No crossed feet on stairs, ever. The shot can breathe when the performer is safe and precise, and Granger earns those long takes by keeping his center calm while the world moves. Listen to the sound his shoes make when he pushes off. There's intent, not panic. The blade takes the eye, but the real story is below the waist. Tiny advances, soft retreats, quarter turns that square him back to target. When he binds an opponent's sword and glides to a new line, that's hours of drill buried under a smile. When pressed, he doesn't swing harder. He shortens the motion and lets the legs solve the problem. That's maturity in action. If Granger made the duel sing, Basil Rathbone wrote its punctuation. Number 5. Basil Rathbone, the villain who made everyone else look brave. The best duels of the studio era feel sharper when Basil Rathbone steps in, because he wasn't acting dangerous, he was conducting. The eyes stay cool, the arm writes neat lines, and the feet whisper the beat, so the scene never trips. Play the famous showdowns in The Adventures of Robin Hood, and notice who sets the tempo. Rathbone calibrates distance like a tailor, hemming the fight to fit the frame. He invites an opponent's attack with an inch of open lane, closes it at the last safe moment, and feeds back a riposte that photographs clean. The trick isn't speed, it's clarity. When a partner's timing wobbles, Rathbone smooths it with half steps and soft binds, rescuing rhythm without stealing spotlight. He sells danger without throwing the body off balance. No lurching, no head-forward chase that would smear the blade. He lets the feet write the sentence and the steel add punctuation. Advance comma, parry dash, lunge, exclamation. Directors trusted him with longer takes, and audiences trusted what they were seeing, because the technique didn't leak. If he set the grammar, Fairbanks Sr. wrote the first chapter, movement as headline. Number 4, Douglas Fairbanks Sr., the body that invented the swashbuckler. Before stunt doubles had unions, Douglas Fairbanks Sr. showed audiences what a star could do with a wall, a rope, and lungs that never begged. The springy run, the rope climb without a grimace, the quick vault over a parapet in The Mark of Zorro and The Thief of Baghdad. That was gymnastic wiring, drilled when movie sets were closer to playgrounds than laboratories. Watch how he eats distance. He doesn't pound. He skims, feet kissing the ground, so the upper body can tell the story. When he plants a hand on a ledge, the elbow stays tucked, the ribs stay stacked, and the landing stands tall. Palm stays under the ledge on vaults, safer leverage. Fairbanks turns sets into equipment. Stair rails become parallel bars. Drapes become ropes. The lens lingers because the movement is clean, readable, safe enough to hold without cheats. He also understood that joy sells danger. The smile arrives because the body trusts itself. When he clears a low obstacle, he drives the knee forward, lands soft, and keeps traveling. No break in the sentence. The stunt is punctuation, not a paragraph. Fairbanks made motion a kind of character, optimistic, forward, generous. He takes the set with him, but never tramples it, leaving room for partners to shine. If the founding swashbuckler taught movement to smile, Maureen O'Hara taught poise to bite. Number 3. Maureen O'Hara, the lady who rode, fenced, and never blinked. Studios called her the Queen of Technicolor, but the color wasn't the story. The control was. Maureen O'Hara carried herself like a captain, and the camera trusted her because horses, blades, and storm sets never stole her balance. Start with the saddle in films like The Black Swan and At Sword's Point. Watch how she sits a turn, heels down, knees soft, hips squared, so the upper body can stay calm enough to act. When a horse spooks, she drops the weight and keeps the reins alive in her fingers. Reins stay alive in fingers. Shoulders don't climb. Directors could hold medium-wide shots because she looked placed, not planted. Now the blade. O'Hara's sword hand tells you she practiced. Wrist straight, point speaking, offhand, disciplined. She doesn't slash the air. She draws lines that photograph. The stance is honest. Lead foot forward. Weight ready to spring. She makes opponents look better because she arrives where they need her, when they need her. The power is quiet. A glance becomes a line. A small adjustment becomes a decision. She doesn't demand the frame. She earns the long take by staying exact when sets misbehave. When she dismounts, there's no half-hop scramble. She slides, lands soft, straightens without fuss, and is already reading the next mark. If O'Hara ruled land and steel, Esther Williams ruled the one element that exposes pretenders: water. Number 2, Esther Williams, the endurance that made water obey. Smiles float, bodies don't. Esther Williams turned MGM's pools into honest tests, built on training that never made the posters, cold water that steals breath, choreography that punishes sloppy timing, and retakes that ask the same muscles to fire again without complaint. Start with breath in films like $1 Million Mermaid. Williams learned to meter air like a diver. Long underwater passes, surface laughs that never gasp, transitions from sink to smile without a hitch. You can't fake that with editing alone. She would surface into dialogue that sounded like she'd been resting. That's pace control that lets the camera stay wide. Pools are mirrors that punish bad angles. Williams stacked ribs over hips, toes pointed like arrows, so the whole picture stayed elegant at speed. When the ensemble wheeled around her, she didn't fight the current. Micro kicks to adjust, soft sculls to steer, a dolphin snap that sent her exactly where partners needed her. Verticals settle the water in a beat, energy straight down. Watch how she enters. Soft kneed, hips over heels, so she knifes through rather than splashes. Watch how she exits. Hands high, shoulders down, so there's no collapsing breath to break the spell. When she flips into a vertical, the water around her is calm, faster than you expect. Energy aimed straight down, no wobble stealing seconds. What makes her exceptional isn't a sculpted still, it's repeatability. The take after the take after the take looks the same. If endurance can smile in cold water, elegance can hide a circus. Enter Grant. Number 1, Cary Grant, the acrobat, hiding in a dinner jacket. We all remember the tux, the grin, the voice that could smooth a jagged moment. But Cary Grant's secret wasn't polish, it was wiring. Before he leaned on a mantle, he learned to lean on balance. Acrobat balance, the kind drilled on rough floors with calloused hands. That history never left. Watch how he occupies a suit, Shoulders down, ribs stacked, hips quietly alive. He doesn't stand still, he settles. Weight split, knees soft, ready to move without warning. When comedy hits in Bringing Up Baby or His Girl Friday, he doesn't pitch himself at a joke. He invites gravity to help, letting a slip become a glide. Even his quick turns are engineered. He pivots from the feet, not the neck, so the face stays readable. Pivots from the ankles up, head spots late, so the face reads. He knew the value of stillness. A less trained actor fidgets between beats. Grant rests like a cat. Quiet chest, long neck, eyes free to choose. It's why a raised eyebrow lands harder than a shout. The body isn't scrambling for balance, so the smallest gesture can carry meaning. Look how he handles furniture in North by Northwest and Notorious. Chairs, door frames, banisters. He treats them like equipment. A hand slides along a rail to borrow momentum. A hip brushes a table to steal a pivot. When he runs, notice the feet. Light, quick, underneath him, torso calm so the face can keep talking. The romance scenes get the headlines, but the body carries those too. He never crowds a partner. He orbits, giving space, then closing it on a rhythm, a gentle lift, a guiding hand, a perfectly timed lean. Partner dance truths that keep the moment honest. Grant's genius was to let skill disappear into style. The suit gleamed, the one-liners sparkled, but the engine was circus-bred confidence. I can fall, roll, twist, recover, and make it look like a shrug. If skill can disappear into style, the pattern is clear. Presence comes from preparation. The great ones didn't pose their way to power. They prepared their way there. Miner's grip, wrestler's base, acrobats' timing, rider's poise, fencer's clarity, swimmer's lungs. Different roads, same destination. The frame rewards what holds under pressure. What makes these performances still feel alive is how quietly they carried that work. No speeches, just the confidence to land soft, breathe steady, and make the hard thing look easy. The body language told the truth before a single line did. Which moment proved it to you? Name the one scene, jump, duel, ride, fall, or laugh, where the hidden athlete clicked for you. Add the film title so we can pin a viewer cut.